Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to Baruch College and to the School of Public Affairs. My name is David Birdsell. I'm the Dean of the School of Public Affairs, and I'm very, very pleased to see you here today for our program on how nonprofit organizations can take advantage of online video. If you think back a very short time, 5-10 years ago, to nonprofits and thinking about video, these were always enormously daunting projects, yes? You were thinking about the hundreds of thousands of dollars that you had to have ready to hire camera people to do the editing and compositing, and then, worst of all, to distribute the stuff, putting it onto VHS tapes, mailing it around the country. Many of us either sent or received VHS tapes in the early years of this decade from organizations that insisted that we send them back, right, because they were just too valuable to let them hang on your shelf and gather dust. Those days are gone. It is much easier to both produce and to distribute video these days, and you will hear a lot this afternoon about that. I am very pleased that the Center for Nonprofit Strategy and Management here at Baruch College has been able to collaborate throughout the course of the final months of 2009 and now in this first month of 2010 with the Personal Democracy Forum to talk about how these new technologies present new opportunities for nonprofits, but more than just present new opportunities, really reshape the landscape about how we conceive of the work that we do, how we conceive of the audiences who think of themselves as part of the efforts that we make, and how we think about the broader communities we both serve and in which we participate. Very important changes that I think are truly fundamental in ways that our panelists are ideally situated to try to explain. I do not have the pleasure today of introducing the panelists, but I do have the pleasure today of introducing our moderator, Andrew Richet, who is the founder of the Personal Democracy Forum. Andrew has a long career in serial entrepreneurship, in clever thinking about technology, and in really exploring the uses of new technologies for citizen empowerment and organizational empowerment. He is, in addition to founding the Personal Democracy Forum, which, among other distinctions, has gone the longest without an Adobe copyright suit. It's a really remarkable achievement as far as this goes. But also, if you look at the site Tech President and looked in 2008 at the tremendous information that provided about how this important new dynamic of campaigning changed the way that people both behaved and understood what they learned about campaigns, you know that this is a person who has, as a political candidate, as a thinker, and now as a founder of technology organizations, contributed mightily to our understanding of these topics. It is thrilling to have him here today. Andrew Richet.
Thank you, David. Thank you. Thank you very much. So first of all, David, thank you for the introduction, and it's great to be partnered with Baruch and use your facility and to see so many people attending. I also want to just remind everybody that we weren't able to do this without the support of our sponsors, and in this particular case at this panel, we have a sponsorship from Frameweld and from Interpersonal Frequency, and you'll hear a little bit more from Sam from Frameweld in a few minutes, but Interpersonal Frequency is also going to be here to answer questions and to help us move this topic forward as we get through this panel and we get to a networking session later. I just want to tell a quick story about how I realized that this was going to that online video was going to be a big deal. When in the 2008 presidential campaign, my 83-year-old dad called me up and asked me to come over to his house to help him with his email because he didn't know how to send more than one email at a time. And so I went over and to his house, looking over his shoulder at the shiny Mac that I had bought him about 6 months before. I showed him how to use his address book so he could create groups, and then noticed that the subject of his email line said the words, "Watch this," and my dad was sending his friends links to Barack Obama YouTube videos. And I realized that my dad, in a previous election cycle, might have mentioned something about a support for Barack Obama around a dining table or maybe at an office, around a water cooler, or at a VFW hall with his friends. But it would have taken him a year and a half to have those conversations, and here he was in one afternoon, one email address at a time, reaching the people that would probably be the most influenced by his opinion. And one big statistic that came out of Tech President from the last campaign that I want to share with you was that from our analysis, there were 1.5 billion views of online video that mentioned Obama or McCain in the last presidential election. Of the 1.5 billion, only 150 million of those views were of videos produced by the campaigns themselves. So 9 out of 10 online videos produced and watched during the presidential campaign were produced by people, ordinary American citizens. So this is a massive new phenomenon in our society, and we're fortunate enough today to have the leading experts in this arena join us. The way the format of this panel will work is that we'll ask each of our panelists to speak for 6-7 minutes about their view of this arena and the landscape going forward. We'll then do some interaction amongst ourselves. I'll ask a couple of, I hope, poignant questions. We're going to open it up as quickly as we can to the audience to try to get your questions or comments and turn this as much as we can into a workshop. We'll try to wrap up the formal part of the presentation at 5:30 so that we can leave about half an hour for networking time so that you can meet the panelists face-to-face, meet each other, and ask any other questions that we may not have had time to get to.